I'll talk to you where we talk about the illegal stuff off the air.
Remind me not to get into any drug dealing with you. Let's talk about the criminal conspiracy. Thanks.
This is Michaela Lee, and you are listening to The Usual Saints. Because you're cool, and you should know that. Hype!
Jeremy's in his sexy pose for us today, laying down in bed.
Why did that shit come in my head, too? I was like, we get in the sexy pose today? There you go.
That's good. We can't hear him, so that's even better. Oh, can't hear shit you're saying, bro. You should do that test microphone and speakers every time you connect. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's why I don't automatically join. Hold on, let me move it a little closer if that sounds better. Yes, test.
It's all right. We've just been waiting 30 minutes for you. It's fine. Go ahead. Take your time. Figure your shit out.
Should be working.
Oh, there he is. Should be working after I click the proper microphone.
No, I had to click off it and then back onto it.
Okay. Welcome to a new episode of The Usual Saints. I'm Mike D here this week with Sainte, and Jeremy's back from the dead. Jeremy, how you been?
I'm fine,
sweetie. Oh, I've been great. Sainte really wants us to, have our little marital disputes on the podcast, but
Yeah,
It's like me and my friends, like we only get in these arguments over sports. Like, oh, you fucking stupid. Like, the Cowboys, they suck dick or anything. Like, you two just go out there over everything. Jesus. Like, oh, Jeremy, yeah. How about I get your mom on the pod? Like, Jesus, okay.
Well, I figured that was just as good a guess as the scam artist who tried to get me to click a link in an email after she was saying she was going to send a cash app for, what was it, $3,500? Yeah, so.
Yeah. I think somebody that's trying to do that would be an interesting person to talk to if it was a real person.
I'll unblock him and I'll invite him as a guest on the podcast.
There you go. I didn't know you used fentanyl and heroin before the podcast, but that was different.
What? I got to get going somehow, man.
You're definitely not using meth because you're way too big for that.
Me? You count how many chins you have?
I'm not using meth either. I didn't say I was using drugs, though.
Have we ever thought about that? Like things that are just obvious scams, but you just want to go see how far you can do it. Like, of course, you're not gonna give this bitch any money or any information, but you just want to see how far you can take it to where they'll try to continue on with the scam, but you're just leading them along in some crazy, rabbit hole. Hopefully, just to fuck with them. I've often thought. Something that's an obvious scam is like, I should just fuck with these people. Do I have the time? I just want to be like, yeah, man. Like, how do I give you my credit card number? Which one do you want? And just, give them a bunch of fake bullshit. Oh, wait, I think the date was wrong. Let me give you another date and just waste their time as much as possible.
I kind of did that with this one. You guys didn't see the aftermath. So after the screenshot I sent you, they said, oh, what's your Cash App tag? So I actually created a Cash App tag for The Usual Saints. Didn't want to link it. Didn't want to give them my personal one. So I gave it to them and they sent me a screenshot of like they were about to send the money. I'm like, hey man, if they accidentally send it, oh well, fuck them. And then they asked for my email to verify. I'm like, hey, yeah, usualsaints@gmail.com. Here you go. And then they sent me the email, which is obviously not from Cash App and not from anywhere else, but there's some wording that says like it's a Cash App thing and, oh, the funds are in hold. You have to click this link. I'm like, I laughed at him and I said, yeah, I got to go. Thanks for trying to scam me kind of thing. So I didn't keep it going too far because I was at work, but I got a little kick out of it. Fuck is
so
my
at
dog
work,
doing?
we get a lot of calls. My favorite is the guy who wants to put solar on our nuke plant. So we usually talk to him for a while until they give up. See how on the phone until they give up.
That's amazing. That'd be so. I'd be like, no, let's schedule a meeting. Please come out and bring all your stuff, your measuring equipment, everything you need, and we'll see you right here. I'd go all the way with that shit.
Usually if we're, busy, this is a nuclear power plant. You're on a recorded line. How can we help you today? And click. All right, that's what I thought.
I do that with my phone. They call and I'm like, yeah, it's the government phone. And they pretty much like to disconnect pretty quickly because I guess they think they don't know what the fuck they're messing with. So, good times. What'd you guys do this past weekend? I went to St. Augustine. I guess I could talk about that a little bit, but just wanted to give you guys a chance to see if anything exciting went on in your guys' weekend.
I worked all weekend.
What'd I do this weekend? I did some landscaping work, got a bunch of stuff done, and then kind of finalized everything. We're going to Disney in the next few days, and so spent a whole bunch of money, and then spent most of the weekend watching Disney YouTube. There's a whole industry of people who are on YouTube and have websites that are just based on like going to Disney and recording themselves and showing you, top 10 tricks to, crack the Magic Kingdom, or, top 15 dishes at Hollywood Studios. And like, it's actually these people's jobs. Like they go to Disney like several times a week and just record themselves and do this. I was like, that's interesting. But I kind of fell into a deep rabbit hole of that shit. So now everything on my YouTube suggests, hey, Disney, Universal. My whole YouTube thing is nothing but theme park suggestions now. It's funny.
Yeah. I guess if I had the time and focus and energy and wanted to make that, you could make that kind of thing, a little career, social media, whatever you want to call it. And, make a little website and run it yourself. It's not that difficult nowadays with all the different programs you can use to run it, like My Universe or what's some of the other big ones that, can basically run your thing for you. It's not that difficult. Regarding, you were talking about landscaping. How much, I wanted your opinion, how much do you think it would cost to pressure wash, paint, and possibly, this might go into your estimate, fix like the bottom of a stucco house? I don't know if you guys know, like at the bottom of our stucco, it's like some sort of metal mesh, and it's old. It's from 1981, so it's like falling apart. So to do a 1,300 square foot house, how much would you guys think a handyman would charge?
Are you just asking us out of the blue, or have you gotten a quote and you're just wondering?
I got a quote. I want to see if you guys, if you guys get close.
So you want to pressure wash, then you want them to redo the stucco, and you want them to paint.
Not all the stucco, just the areas. There's let's say 30 feet max of where it needs to be redone a little bit. And he was going to sand around the sliders because the guys who installed the sliders from Home Depot suck dick. And it really just needed to be done. So that's the basic services for that quote, I think.
Okay, so I'm thinking, let's see, pressure wash, stucco. And this is just one guy, or this?
It's him and his wife.
Crew?
Him and his wife.
Okay. Let's see. Pressure wash. And wait, did you say paint or no paint?
Yeah, paint. Yeah.
Okay. So pressure wash, clean, make sure everything's sanded down, stucco, paint. Yeah, man. It's a few days job. If I was going to quote you something like that, again, I'm not a stucco expert. I guess at least 4,500.
Really? Wow. You guys it was 4,200 and change. And we were just shocked at how much that was. So
look at, hey, that's many years working out in the hot sun, hearing people bitch and complain, working masonry construction. But yeah, I kind of get a feel of what people tend to like to charge for that kind of stuff. You thought that was high?
Listen, we really just wanted it painted, but we've been using him as our handyman. He just came back into town and he's really does great work. All the other ones are kind of shitty, the handymans that I've been trying, and they charge, relatively inexpensive. He's not insanely expensive or anything like that, but he does good work. And so I've been using him for the little odd jobs. But, then he came in and, quoted me for some little odd jobs around the house. And it was like $700-800. And I was like, that's a little high. And Heather's like, nah, let's skip that. Let's wait for the painting quote. Cause we asked him for a quote for the outside too. And then he came back with the 4,200. We just weren't expecting that at all. I don't know what I was expecting. It's just, I don't know. It seems a lot. He only charged $300 for the pressure washing, but we have a pressure washer ourselves. And I know you do too, Saint. I saw you were selling yours. Heather loves them.
I'm selling that. I could use that for my Chad moment, but that actually ended up as a come up. So, but yeah, that was a Chad moment come up. We could talk about it at the end of the podcast. Just remind me.
I was just shocked. I guess maybe I'm in the wrong. I didn't say anything like, holy shit, how the fuck can you charge that much? I was just like, I just didn't accept his offer. That's all.
Right. Well, you realize on stuff like that, people realize if someone knows what the fuck they're doing and they know what the fuck they're doing, it's like, look, it's not the pressure washing part. It's I'm going to sand stucco and make it look good. And then I'm going to paint. So each one of those, like if you get a janky guy, you get somebody that comes in 15, 2000, it's going to be just slap dick work. You know, if someone knows, if he knows what he's doing, basically, he's going to be like, yeah, I got to charge you a little premium because this is stuff that you want to look good. So there you go.
Slap dick?
Yeah.
Term before.
Really? Yeah. It's any kind of, you know, people say shoddy, people say whatever. I say slap dick. It gives a little right amount of oomph.
No, just never heard it. Interesting.
Have you guys been to St. Augustine before for like vacation or visits or?
I have not. I have a friend of mine who's gone a bunch of times and he loves it. I mean, he gets an Airbnb out there and takes his family, but I've been meaning to, but he goes like probably twice a year and he gets an Airbnb and takes his whole, he lives outside of Atlanta, but he always tells me that he loves it. I've never been though.
Yeah, it's really awesome. You know, we did some ghost hunting stuff. We what else did we do? Oh, Sophie always had to hit up a cat cafe. We went on a scenic cruise. That was a little chilly. It was like in the 50s or 60s, and I had a t-shirt on, and with that water breeze, you know, right off the Atlantic there, it was a little chilly for my taste. But no, we had fun. We stayed in a.
I work on a boat in a fucking Alaska, you little whiny bitch.
He probably has the appropriate clothing,
I
though.
saw the thought bubble above his head as you're saying, the little breeze off the water. I was cold.
Hey, man, I told him he could apply for my position. He just needs to get a bachelor's. So, you know. Yeah, no, it's fun, though. I didn't know if you guys had been. We go like twice a year. Sophie wants to go to college up there, and Heather wants to retire up there. So, we'll see what happens with that whole situation. But we had a nice little weekend. And then on Monday, Sophie wanted to go to Universal. So we went to Universal after that. So I had a long weekend of driving back and forth. And this weekend, it will continue with going to Busch Gardens and then the Brevard Zoo. Hopefully that's it for a while. Although I have to go see the Batman in 40X next weekend. So my weekends are just jam fucking packed, man. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Who put Paramount Plus on there? Saint, was that you? I know we touched on it last week. Was that you?
Yeah, I did. I had put it on there. Do we want to? I had the whole thing ready to go for it, but we could do it again if you want to just go through it.
Oh, did we not cover what you wanted to cover? I mean, that's fine if we did. We can move on. I know you kind of touched on how CBS and Viacom are becoming Paramount and everything's kind of getting rolled up under one umbrella, which seems to be what most of the companies are doing, you know, with Disney Plus. Everyone's doing the fucking plus, you know, it's very unoriginal. I wish there was something different, but the things that are different don't seem to work out. And then they rebrand themselves to something plus.
Right. I guess I just wanted to add that they just had like a huge drop just the other day. Let me see if I can find the article again. But basically it was, they're going all in. I mean, they have several Star Treks in the making. They had, I don't know if you've watched Below Decks, the Star Trek Below Decks, the animation.
The animated, yeah.
Right. And actually it's pretty good. It's really funny, but they're doing that. They're doing another animated. Of course, they've got Yellowstone, which is, you know, one of the biggest. They renewed that, and it's one of the biggest shows in America, but they're just going all in, and they're pulling all their properties. By 2025, all of Paramount's properties are going to be back on. So it's going to be Paramount Plus. There's going to be another streaming service that you're going to have to use. Everything that Tom Cruise does. I just seen a whole bunch of other things that they have farmed out to either HBO or to Netflix. And by 2025, their plan is to pull everything back. CBS. I mean, all this is going to be is either CBS, the television network, but everything else is just going to be under the umbrella of Paramount and then Paramount Plus. So, and then everything CBS, every golf tournament, NCAA basketball, they're going to also put on Paramount Plus. So just interesting to see how the streaming wars are going. And, you know, I think right now the only company with and also South Park is going to come off HBO, because South Park's on HBO Max, is going to come off that and go to Paramount Plus 2025. So the only big time content producer or owner is really Sony. They're the only ones who don't. And if you look, Sony has so much of their shows on Netflix right now, or shows and movies, but they're really the only big time player who doesn't have their own dedicated streaming service. So it's just another, if you're willing to plop down another, I don't even know how much Paramount Plus costs or if they have a free version or whatever, but it's just another streaming service. If you want to watch something that you got to plunk down another whatever a month to watch.
It's just so annoying, man. Because like I just paid $222 for my DirecTV. I'm probably going to cancel it in September when my contract's up. I know.
Good. Thank you. Oh, and trust me, I got a technique to chat them up too in case they try to give you some. Well, you're the master, so what am I talking to? But if they were giving me the littlest bit, and I was like, Chad about to come out. No. And I did everything to get it. And you have to mail them back the fucking equipment through UPS and all that bullshit. And I still got the dish on my roof because they're like, fuck. It shows you how much it matters. They're like, yeah, just fucking keep the dish. We don't go fuck. Fuck out of here. We got your money for this long. So, but yeah, man, I'd say get rid of that DirecTV. Trust me, there are other options. I'll put it that way. If you want to watch what you need to watch, I'll put it this way. I saw all the Super Bowl. If you get my drift, no problem. Yeah,
man. You can just put an antenna on the house and the cable is.
Sure.
My problem is I've tried those. I live 70 miles or more from the closest television market. And so I've tried those high range antennas and things like that to try to get over the air shit. I've tried the ones you stick on the wall. None of them work, man. None of them can get, the local West Palm channel. So that sucks for me, but we don't really watch a lot of basic cable shit anyway. I mean, before I had DirecTV, I was buying all shows on iTunes or using the streaming services and blah, blah, blah. The only thing that the issue I would have, and the reason we got DirecTV was because of the pandemic. And I was like, do you think I should go to the bars or the restaurants? And it was hard to find one to watch the games, or should I watch them at home?
Mike, listen to me.
Sainte's like, I know a way we can talk about off the air.
Yeah. We'll talk about it off the air. Get yourself some streamers. No, trust me. Netflix is kind of turned into the channel clicker. Back in the day, I'm just going to switch channels to see what's on. That's what Netflix is. You just go on there. Most of the shows, I'm just like, oh, that's interesting. Or, some Korean show, like a Squid Game. What's this? That HBO Max, you got to need, even though I think their user interface is kind of like the worst and it's always dropping out. And of course, Disney Plus. So that's the three-headed dragon right there. Everything else, I think I get Hulu free through something else. It's not like the best Hulu. It's like the one down where I still get like a 30-second ad before the show or whatever. So I have Hulu. Everything else, sports, no problem. Just trust me. Don't need no antenna. Don't need no bar. Everything, let's put that 1 gig internet to use. So you can get my drift. Am
I going to get arrested though? Because I used to get notices. I used to get notices from Comcast whenever I would torrent Big Love.
My friend, there's a little thing called a VPN. Yes, a VPN that you must invest in. There's a way to do this. Trust me.
All right, VPN. I'll talk to you where we can talk about the illegal stuff out there.
Mm-hmm. Remind me not to get into any drug dealing with you. Let's talk about the criminal conspiracy. You want to? Thanks.
Jeremy, you got thoughts on this? I think I interrupted you. You're about to chime in before. Go ahead.
No, I got nothing. I have no part in this illegal conspiracy to pirate and steal movies and television and sports entertainment.
Yar.
So Paramount Plus, though. So one of the guys at work mentioned it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to watch the Royal Rumble this weekend." I'm like, "What? A couple weekends ago?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. So if you pay the $5, I think it is a month for Paramount Plus, now you get all what used to be, $60 pay-per-views for fucking WWE." I was like, "Oh, all right." So that's, to me, a very different model on how they're trying to make money to get people to watch it, I guess. But it just surprised me a little bit because those used to be, their big money grabs were to get people to pay for that.
I keep wanting to say to Jeremy, can I draw you like one of my French girls? Because he's laying down like Kate Winslet in Titanic.
I have my shirt on.
Whip those titties out.
I can hear the Titanic music playing right now, too. It's like,
you have an unhealthy obsession. I'm just saying.
With what? Ooh, which thing? With you? Barely. I can't remember the last time I actually saw you. My birthday's coming up, by the way, Jeremy. Just FYI.
Yours isn't even the next birthday. What the fuck?
My daughter's is. Who's after that?
That's why I said yours isn't next.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, by the time this comes out, my daughter's birthday would pass. So, who put Wordle?
No. I mean, what's today? Today's the 25th, Friday.
So it's Sunday, out, right? It's Sunday, right? Okay, so MySpace, you accidentally put the wrong fucking number after being up all night.
You emailed it out.
Yeah, whatever, motherfucker. Saint doesn't. Oh, maybe he's heard that. Who put Wordle on here?
About this before.
Well, I did.
What do you like about Wordle? I tried it once, and I was like, nope, bye.
Oh no, I just want to talk about. Do you guys? Quick question: do you guys play? And if so, and then the thing about how the New York Times went and bought it, it's crazy how this thing's been on. It was out for like almost a year, a little bit over a year. And then for some reason, it just caught on like wildfire on Twitter and became a big thing. And then almost immediately a month after it becomes big, the New York Times just comes and buys it up. It's just crazy. The amount of consolidation, corporations, the money they have to just spend on anything. I mean, he got low seven figures, so you figure maybe 2-3 million, which is probably good for him because he's like, yeah, this is something I just came up with. I wasn't gonna. He even said I wasn't gonna make people pay for it. I wasn't gonna do a lot of maintenance on it. You can like download the source code and literally see the words per day. He had a generator. It just took a shit ton of 5-letter words, but I just thought it was interesting. A guy just does something in his spare time, it catches fire. And then just like that, as soon as it's popular, New York Times is like, hey, we could put that up. And of course, they're like, we're going to keep it free and blah, blah, blah. But, eventually it's going to go like they have to figure out a way either to monetize it or to direct you to the New York Times crossword. I think you can pay just to the crossword puzzle itself without even having a time subscription. So I just thought that was interesting.
I'm not much of a fan. I tried it. You have to go to a website before the Times bought it, right? Like it was a website out of Britain or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah, you just Googled Wordle and it'd take you to that site and it would remember what you did for that day and it would keep your streak. So every time you go to it, the website would reset. I think whatever it was in British time. I think here on the East Coast, it was like at 10 p.m. and it'd be a new word that would reset, but it would remember your streak and how well you did and how many tries it took you. So then this would happen. So of course, when the Times officially bought it and switched it to their servers or whatnot, they switched the font to the New York Times font on top. And then the day it happened to be a couple of words that were just a little harder than normal. The hardest words are ones that use the same letters twice. At first, I didn't know if it did or didn't, but I guess there are some times where you'll get a word that has like 2 E's or 2 L's or whatever. So that makes it a little more harder. And then immediately the backlash was like, fuck the New York Times. They fucked this game up. They made it harder. But literally, they haven't really changed the source code. So if you go through the steps and look at the actual source, you can see that no, those are just the words that are going to be there anyway. But people just, conflate it to, oh, fucking New York Times buys it and they make it harder now. They fucking good, blah, 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 So that was a thing. I just thought it was funny. But
yeah, well, something has to hook me. If it doesn't hook me right away, I can't get into it. I tried, but I just couldn't. Jeremy, what about you?
I tried it once. I was like, all right, the guy at work's like, yeah, my wife looked up the best words to start with, and she happened to, one of the words she used happened to be that word that day, or one of the days, so she ended up, getting it on the first try. Like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I usually use crane, magic, or depends on how I'm feeling. I switch it up every day because you figure the best words can't be the best words every single day. On top of that, now there's a shit ton of Wordle knockoffs. There's like there's one that's just curse words. There's one where it's like you get 4 different boxes and you have to figure them all out. And that's way too, I'm not that much of a, but Wordle, I still like it. When you got nothing to do, I'm guessing when I go to Disney, I'll be playing it a lot. Go ahead.
I would think you'd want to try to get the vowels in there as quick as possible. Figure out what vowels you're playing with, and that makes it somewhat easier. And hey, if one of the other letters happens to pop, great.
Right.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll go into our B block. We got some big topics to talk about. Don't know that any of us have major opinions on it, but we'll talk about it. So we'll be right back with our B block. You're listening to The Usual Saints.
Hey, this is Trooper James Casey. You're listening to Usual Saints.
pick up the cake.
Yeah, I got the cake, but your ass is gonna have to carry some in this B block, bitch. B block, bitch. That's alliterative. I'm gonna call you my B block, bitch, from now on. That's good. You can bring the B block topics.
I'm surprised you even know what alliteration is.
I know what alliteration is, motherfucker. I know a lot of that stuff. I know what an oxymoron is. You're an oxymoron.
I don't think you know what it is if you believe that.
A smart Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
That's an oxymoron, isn't it? You're still drinking that fucking cherry Coke shit. That is so bad for you. You are bad enough as is. Don't be drinking soda anymore. What is that? 0 sugar. Man, you need to be drinking that water, that Astria Life. That's what it's about right here. Astria, sponsor the podcast.
Yeah, you're the picture of health. I should listen to you.
I mean, if we're just going off pictures, I think we're fine. Yeah, but if we're going off numbers, I do have about a foot on you. Yeah, so whatever you want to take that for what it is. Is this what Sainte's looking for? Because we haven't even come back officially, but I'm probably going to use all this.
I'm sure we will.
Welcome back to the Usual Saints. I'm Mike D here with Sainte and Jeremy, but Sainte's doing some thing on the phone right now. So
refinancing.
I was trying to keep it quiet. I don't know if he wants it in public.
Why? Who the fuck cares?
I was going to tell him I don't know his situation, but like that refinance, like because you see about the racer, blah blah blah. What we wound up doing a few years ago was we dipped into our home equity. So what we did was we paid off our entire mortgage because our home equity shot up so much because of how cheaply we got our house and all the improvements we've made. And so we did that instead. And I mean, if I was even charged a fee, it was maybe a few $100. But I know refinance can get into kind of crazy territory with some of those numbers.
Thing.
It is, but it's different,
money, right? You still got to pay back like a mortgage.
I do, but I don't have the actual mortgage. So technically my home is paid off. But if I was to go into some sort of debt or whatever, they would obviously be the first to be paid back from any sale of the house or anything like that. But it's slightly different. Slightly. I don't know all the specifics. I'm not a fucking genius when it comes to mortgages and all that shit. I just know that like when we were looking at like refinance, like they were talking about like thousands of dollars as like a charge. And I'm like, whoa, hold your horses. That doesn't sound like a good plan to me. So I don't know. We'll see what he says when he comes back. Hopefully it's a quick fix. Let's talk about, I guess we got to talk about the elephant in the room, but we don't have to talk long about it. Obviously World War III is about to start happening, as Sophie keeps saying.
Elephant?
I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like, I didn't know this was happening at all. I keep myself pretty abreast of the news. I know Putin's always been a dick.
How the fuck did you not know this was happening?
No, like I didn't. It was pretty sudden, wasn't it? Or was it gradual?
No, they've had troops on the border for weeks.
Really? Huh. I did not know.
I remember watching the opening ceremonies of the Olympics like 2 weeks ago, and them talking about him having troops sitting at the border. Because the last time Russia invaded a country, it was also during the Olympics when they invaded Georgia, I believe.
I don't watch the Olympics, so maybe that's why I missed it. And I never heard of Georgia being invaded, and that's right above Florida, man.
Here's the cheesy comedy stick hour. Like, oof. Oh boy.
Fuck, man, that was horrible.
Listen,
do any of you watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon Prime? No. It's about like a 1950s, 60s housewife who becomes a comedian, and they had like she meets like Lenny Bruce and stuff. But the thing is, like, she's not like a traditional comedian. She tells stories. But the reason she's so popular is because they show all the male comedians. They're just hacks, and they're just doing hacky, kind of like what you did, just hacky material, except for like Lenny Bruce. And, it was showing the evolution of stand-up, how stand-up was becoming a more risque and the stand-up we know today in the 60s. And she kind of models that in her life, whatever. But yeah, they show her going to places. She goes, these guys are fucking hacks. Listen to this shit. And yeah, you just did like a super Georgia. That's right above Florida. I didn't even know.
I had to go there, man. Come on, it's so easy. It's the low hanging fruit. I don't know. I always go for that shit.
So what was the context? Because I got some ideas about this whole Russian thing. But go ahead. What was it?
Well, we were just. I said we had to talk about the elephant in the room. First, we were talking about your. Jeremy brought up. I said, "Oh, Sainte's gonna be gone for a minute," and Jeremy's like, "Yeah, he's doing the refinance." I'm like, "Yeah," and I said, "Whatever." I said, "I thought about that a few years ago, but I wound up going the home equity installment loan route." Because the refinance was going to be charging me more. So we had a little short conversation on that. And then we jumped into the elephant in the room, Russia and Ukraine, because I don't feel like we can't not talk about it. Not that we have to talk about it for a long time. And I was saying that I just had no idea it was happening. Literally, like last week, Sophie mentioned something about like World War III happening. And then all of a sudden it started happening. And I feel like I'm on Facebook a lot. I don't know. I feel like it's geared towards me, like a lot of MSNBC and shit like that. I just didn't see any of it. And then all of a sudden, bam, Putin's fucking inside of Ukraine. And it was just news to me, I guess. And, it's a little scary with the whole Chernobyl thing and, them getting that area and that area being fucked now. And that's where I was making the jokes about hoping that Putin comes and takes over Germany and his little power plant where he works. And then try not to suck Homer Simpson's dick. But go ahead.
Some of that may have to do with your news sources. MSNBC, that might not have been, something they wanted to talk about or make it, one of their top stories before they actually attacked. Didn't fit the narrative that they wanted at the time. But it's been a couple weeks. They had the troops on the border. Probably a week and a half that the intelligence community was saying, hey, they're going to attack. And I think a couple times they actually said, hey, they're going to attack on, Wednesday. And I think Putin didn't attack on Wednesday just because the intelligence he was saying it was going to happen Wednesday. Because he's, can't just trying to prove him wrong or make him look stupid. But then they got him to stop at one point, or they said they were going to, we'll meet. I think Biden was supposed to have a meeting with Putin in France, but only if Putin didn't attack. And then obviously that didn't work out so well.
I'm shocked because I don't see how this ends in a way where it is positive for Russia. Even if they take over the entirety of Ukraine, the entire world is sanctioning them with financial sanctions and all that kind of shit. And they're just not, besides them having nuclear weapons, they don't have the cyber attacks, which apparently Biden has authorized or may authorize soon against Russia, which I think is awesome.
But I just already took care of that.
I know, right? But I just don't see how it ends well for Russia or what the point is besides Putin being a egomaniacal dictator. So,
well, I did not realize that there's I don't know if you knew, it's kind of a side story that I didn't hear much about until yesterday. But Belarus, which is just north of Ukraine and obviously right there on the eastern side of Russia, has a referendum in the next couple days. I'm not sure when it actually is, but in the next couple of days, they have a referendum to see if they want to cease being a country and rejoin Russia.
Yeah.
And Belarus is not a small piece of land either. And it borders right up against Poland and 3 or 4 old USSR territories right there. And they're all NATO members. Belarus and Ukraine obviously are not. Ukraine's kind of regretting that decision right now, I think, or wishing that they had let them join, because then they might be getting a little more support at this point. But I didn't have any idea that Belarus or one of the countries was thinking about, hey, let's stop being a country and just go back to being under Russian rule.
I mean, I think I'm not 100% sure. I think John Oliver has touched on this a little bit. I feel like Sainte wants to jump in, so I want to make sure he gets a chance. I feel like the leader of Belarus is very Putin friendly. Like, I think he was a former strongman or a comedian. I forget which president he is, but he's one of those presidents that's very Putin friendly. And so it's obvious Putin just wants to try to put back together the USSR and do whatever, but I just don't see his end game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's honestly a little shocking to see Russian troops basically overrunning and taking over a country. Yeah, Ukraine's fighting, but let's be honest, the size of their military is no match for Russia. And it's just like the world is just stepping back and waiting, like at their western borders. So it's just a little shocking to me. That's all. I don't know. But Sainte, go ahead. I know you haven't touched on it yet.
No, I wanted to wait because I tend to ramble because I had a lot of thoughts about this. Like, first I was going to say my wife's one of her best friends who lives in California. She's all like, she doesn't really know much about politics. She doesn't listen, so whatever. But she doesn't know much about politics or geopolitical stuff. But this popped up. She kind of has the same experience with you. This popped up like, oh shit, Russia is invading, Ukraine, and then she's all like messaging me and Ashley like, is this World War III? What's going? Oh my god, but this. First, I'll say on the news side, like that's why I mostly stick to Twitter now. And I'm very specifically curate what who I follow and read on Twitter. And, Facebook, I just feel like it's just a trashy. I try to stay off Facebook as much, except for when we're promoting this amazing show and you should follow us on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But I much prefer Twitter because, there's a few people who I feel like, okay, I'm getting the kind of news and kind of stuff. I actually follow a guy. He's actually been on CNN and MSNBC. His name's Terrell Jackson Starr. He's a black dude from Brooklyn who he has a real interesting story, but long story short, eventually he became like a Ukrainian Russian. That became his areas of expertise and studies. Like he speaks Ukrainian and he tells a story like, I go to Ukraine and people see me and they give me a look because they don't see very many black people here. And then I start speaking fluent Ukrainian and then they look at me like I'm a unicorn. Like, what the fuck? What is this? Like, he goes, he shocks people. But he's there right now reporting. I've been on CNN. He's in Kiev where, the missiles and rockets and he's, actually elevate him. So he used to work for a lot of like more black urban websites about geopolitics in America and of course in Eastern Europe. But now he's over there. So I've actually known about this for a while, the build up, everything that's gone on. So on the second note, it's people don't understand Putin is a gangster. It's basically if you had Tony Soprano, but who grew up in the KGB that turned into, the FRU, the current Soviet, spy agency, but basically a KGB officer mixed with Tony Soprano, and he's the leader of the second most powerful nuclear, country in the world. And basically, if you look at it, every time the West and NATO get stronger, Putin makes a move like this because he feels like, hey, I have to do something to counterbalance what's going on over there. Not trying to get into our own political things, but when we had a president, our previous commander in chief, who was less happy with NATO and it seemed like was willing to make NATO weaker, it seemed as if Putin was like, that's good for me. He stepped back. Everything happened. Biden gets in. And of course, he's trying to strengthen our NATO alliance, including maybe it's getting to a point now Finland and Sweden might want to join NATO because they're like, so of course, Putin's always going to make a calculation. And I think his overall goal isn't to completely invade and take over Ukraine. It's I'm going to go in, I'm going to completely murder and destroy the current regime. I'm going to put in a Ukrainian regime that is very pro-Russian. They're going to be put in Ukraine. And then it's basically going to be kind of like not a puppet government, but a puppet's like, hey, Putin may say, I want to build an oil pipeline through Ukraine that goes to Russia from, the Baltic Sea or wherever. This current administration is going to be like, fuck. And, Putin's probably going to be like, I get 60, you get 40. That's the mafia deal, right? And the current Ukrainian democracy, whatever, is going to be like, yeah, fuck you. And Putin's like, okay, I'm going to get rid of you motherfuckers, put in my own guy, again, who's going to be Ukrainian, just like he did in Crimea, just like they have in Belarus. And his guy's going to be like, oh, this is a great deal for us. It's going to unite Ukrainian and Russian solidarity, blah, blah, blah. Where really it's going to be to Putin's advantage. So the idea is, let me get rid of these Ukrainians I don't like, put in the Ukrainians I do like, and then I can do whatever the fuck I want. And even if NATO, because that's kind of where the Ukrainians were leaning towards. Hey, let's get closer to the West. They took out their nuclear weapon. There used to be nuclear weapons in Ukraine, and they basically took them out because they wanted a closer alliance to the West because it kind of sucks when Russia's ask the old Soviet bloc nations. Like, yeah, it was the Soviets versus NATO. Well, you always want to be with NATO because if Russia is your big ally, it sucks because they're a bunch of murderers, traitors, thugs, and communism sucks. We can go on to the Cold War history, whatever. But that's basically going to be Putin. And like you said, Jeremy, they're going to have that vote in Belarus, and it's going to be pro-Russian because that's what Putin wants. He doesn't want to take it over. He just wants you to be, hey, you're one of my capos now. You know what I'm saying? I got a capo here. I got a capo there. And I can do what I want. And if NATO is going to get stronger, then I'm going to make my position stronger. And that's what it all boils down to. And money's going to flow into Putin's pockets. And This will end with them withdrawing from Ukraine, right? Oh, we've eliminated the neo-Nazi drug taking Ukrainian part, and Ukraine is going to be free again. We freed them of terrorists. They're going to, use our own words against us. It's like our invasion of Iraq. That's how he's going to, we've freed them, the Ukrainian people, and then we're going to go back to Russia, and they're going to vote, and it's going to be fine. And see, I'm not a bad guy. I don't want Russian tanks there forever. And it's just going to be a puppet government who's going to do whatever he says. And there you go. So dealing with a gangster, anybody who supports him, fucking, you're basically supporting a mob boss. And I can't, we have American commentators talking about, well, if we just did this, then Putin, you can't negotiate with a gangster, get out of here. But again, if the gangster's sitting on 5,000 nuclear warheads, you kind of have to back up and be like, now, if he sets his sight on Poland, yeah, you might want to think about getting some extra canned goods and figure out your shelter, because I think Poland's it's the Rubicon. You cross this and we're going to have to do something, because, you're basically going to be giving away all of Eastern Europe to Putin. I think that's where I would be like, oh shit, things getting real. So there you go.
So I saw something about Putin. I did not realize that he came to power. He was just, kind of a KGB colonel that, was kind of a stopgap. They just threw him in there. They needed somebody. No, it wasn't real popular. He was, leading the country, until all of a sudden, all these bombings started happening around Russia by these Chechen terrorists. And all of a sudden, when you're being attacked by terrorists, the president seems to become more popular, until they caught, he still became very popular and got all this power, but then they caught a bunch of ex-KGB agents setting a bomb, because it was them that were bombing the country so Putin would become more popular. It's like, what the fuck? And, it's Russia, so nobody cares.
It's fucking Russia, man. The KGB, that's who you got running. They're KGB, counterintelligence. They literally have cyber warfare factories that they fund. And yeah, he'd bomb his own people in order to get power. And then it's amazing to me, again, another rant, but I hate when I feel like I hear United States people act like he's some legitimate, reasonable leader. He's gone from prime minister to president to, at one point, it was some bullshit thing he made up, to president to prime minister, and it doesn't change. Like, oh, now he's a prime minister and this guy's president. Well, so who's in charge? Oh, Putin. Oh, now Putin's back to prime minister and this guy's president. Okay, who's in charge? Putin. Oh, Putin's like the undersecretary of something. So who's in charge? Putin. Like, it's as if like somebody could become the president, secretary of state, secretary of defense, and they're always in charge. Like, are you seriously going to say this is legitimate? And somehow he wins 90% of the vote, 97% of the vote every time. Like, nice. Somehow. His biggest let me end with this. The biggest guy, and you might know this, the biggest opposition he ever had, that guy got radiation poisoning, like uranium poisoning. Like, when you see him, you probably know about that kind of, well, I hope you know, Jeremy, but the kind of poisoning were like, holy shit, just to send a message. Like, this guy, they didn't want to just kill him or, have him commit suicide off a building somewhere. They went all the way to radiation poisoning, where this guy looks horrific and scarred him. Yeah, that's his biggest opposition. And since then, or he had another guy, and that guy is in jail right now too. Go figure. So go ahead, Jeremy. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. So the other part of this is, what do you do? Because, we have troops on the border. That is how World War III starts, is those troops coming across the border and NATO engaging with Russia or whatever. I mean, that is how World War III starts. Other countries start sending troops to fight, and they start fighting Russian troops. And, right now it'd be Russia against everybody. But, what happens if China decides that this is a good time for them to go see about hey, let's make sure Taiwan is part of China again.
That's a big problem.
Where shit gets real. Because then all of a sudden it's not just Russia versus everybody. It's Russia and China versus everybody. And that's a lot of fucking planes and tanks. And
don't forget North
China
Korea.
Has a fucking both sides have a fucking navy, and
fucking
that
North
is
Korea.
where World War III happens.
Literally, North Korea, and because I was stationed there, literally, if it wasn't for the fact that they are so close to Seoul, it's just, and they have so many batteries. And if you think about it, a battery is just a bullet that you just shoot, and they can just shoot it into Seoul. And the estimates are, I was there. Our pilots, literally, this is crazy. Our American pilots, we're more afraid of the South Korean pilots shooting us down by accident than we are of the North Korean Air Force or their batteries. That's how bad it is. But same thing, the demilitarized zone is right at Seoul. So if a war happens, we can launch missiles. It's estimated we would destroy that country in 2 to 3 days just with bombardments. But their batteries would hit Seoul so hard, 500,000 to 1 million people would die. And Seoul is like New York City. It's a beautiful, great place to be. I loved it there. But they have batteries so close that, are you going to risk 500,000 to 1 million people? But we literally would destroy them in like 3 days. That's how backwards and their technology is so far back. But I mean, you're still losing 500,000 lives. But like you said, China may look to Taiwan and be like, hey, if Russia can do that, maybe we go over there and we have aircraft carriers. And the Japanese are going to be like, what the fuck? Because they don't want China to do. Japanese, like, we're an island country. They're just sitting here. Can China come and do that to us? That's why China is building more aircraft carriers. They have 1, they're building 2. We have 12. We could take China out, but it will not be pretty too. But there's nukes there too. So with nuclear weapons, that's just the ultimate, equalizer. So geopolitics, what a time to be alive.
It's totally fucked situation.
I mean, that's the thing. You have to trust that the leader of China or the leader of Russia or even the fucking leader of North Korea doesn't take that nuclear option. I mean, because if they launch nukes, they're coming back right at them, but then they just launch more, and well, it's fucking mutually assured destruction. That is what it stopped everyone from using them, but it just takes one crazy person for that not to work.
The North Korea angle, it sucks more because it's like he may just go batshit crazy, but they know they'd be destroyed. Also, China would know. China has, somewhere between 100 and 200 nukes, but their cruise missiles technology isn't as sophisticated. Of course, all you need to do is get 1 or 2 nukes to land, but China knows they'd be wiped out too. It's the reason why we've scaled back our nukes, because our technology is so far ahead, and we have better assurances that we're actually going to hit the targets we target. So, and they know that too, but Russia's just like, we're just going to throw everything at you. So it's like, fuck with us, and that's our end game. China's more like, are we worried about Chinese tanks rolling? Their tanks are 2 or 3 generations behind ours. They got a shit ton of people, but Beijing, almost all would be destroyed. But you just don't want to get into a nuclear war fight. It's just, it just sucks. You have to talk about shit like that. It's crazy.
By the way, Mike, you wouldn't do well if they did have a nuclear war. You live too close to where I work. Actually, I believe we're a target. I think it's like we're like one of the top 300 targets in the country or something, because it just makes a fucking mess.
Guess I'll just be moving then.
Well, yeah, that's probably a good idea anyway. I work there. What the fuck are you trusting me for?
I don't.
That's probably, like I said.
All right, let's come back in the C block, talk about some deaths, some sad moments, some other shit. So we'll be right back. You've been listening to Usual Saints. Wanted to make sure I captured that yawn for the end of the B block. Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Eva Habermann, and you're listening to The Usual Saints.
All right, let's finish up this show. Welcome back to The Usual Saints. I make D here with Sainte and Jeremy. Bill Paxton got $1 million. Well, not him, his family, because he's dead, sadly. That still shocks me. Every time I fucking put on Aliens or come across anything, and I'm like, man, that guy, he just never seemed that old to me. I know he was in his 60s when he died. It just sucked the way he went out. Like, he was supposed to have this whatever surgery, and then I think he had a heart attack during it. Now this anesthesia firm is paying his family $1 million settlement. So it just sucks that we lost him. He was like one of my favorite character actors, and he was always he's in most of the biggest movies of all time because he's Cameron's buddy, things like that. I mean, he probably could have worked his way into a few Marvel movies. That would have been great, but I don't know. I just didn't know if you guys saw that and had anything to say about it. You know, good for the family. You know, obviously it seems like it was probably wrongful death if they went ahead and settled. So
surprised they got so much. Usually malpractice insurance, a lot of states have it capped at a much lower number than that.
Yeah. You guys Bill Paxton fans?
I'm trying to think, Bill Paxton, what's the most famous movie part he's had?
Aliens, True Lies, Terminator, Titanic.
He's Chet, right?
Chet, yeah. In Weird Science. Yeah, Weird Science. Yeah. He's the brother who turned into the pile of shit. In Aliens, he's the guy who goes, "Game over, man. Game over." He's Hicks. Or no, not Hicks. Twister? He's not Hicks. Twister, of course. Twister. Big
Twister,
Love.
That's what I was thinking. Twister and Big Love. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, was the surgery necessary, or was it just a botched, or was it elective surgery?
I think it was something for his heart, but it was something that I think was pretty regular, because it was unexpected. It's not like he, had something, went in for something that was dangerous. I don't think. Again, this is probably where we could use Google, but from what I remember
right now, it said he died of a stroke following heart surgery for an aortic aneurysm repair. Family sued the hospital, claiming it and his staff were negligent, and his doctor recommended an unconventional surgery that he wasn't properly trained and didn't explain the risk. Jesus. I mean, you figure someone, I don't know how much money I have, but you figure someone with that much money or whatever would get the best care, not some dude that's recommending something that he's not qualified for. That would suck.
Yeah, it just sucks because, he's one of my, he always made me smile when he was on screen. Whatever role he was in. So Big Love was one of the last ones I remember seeing him in, and I watched all 4 or 5 seasons of that. So it just sucks. And like I said, that news just came out. So I wanted to touch on that. Let's see the deaths this week. They're a little weird because I don't really know a bunch about them, but I wanted to bring them up, see if you guys had any comments. So the first one that died was Mark Lanigan. He was the lead singer of Screaming Trees. And so when I listen to Lithium on Sirius a lot, and they played like the most famous Screaming Trees song, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard this before, but I don't really know who the guy is. You know what I mean?
We've been shaking our heads like every name and everything you're saying. I'm like, nope. No. I listen to Lithium on this. On these Screaming Tree. No, never heard of it.
You need to get serious. Lithium's the 90s alternative channel. That's basically what I keep on in my car when I'm not listening to Sterner podcasts. Basically when Sophie's in the car when I don't want to plug my phone in. So
and every time I take my wife's car in, they conveniently add the XM Sirius for free that I get for another 3 months. Every time they add it, every time that way, here's a benefit. We've given you free for 3 months. We just, just make sure and we just cancel it right away. Like, yeah, no, thanks. I'm podcast or Spotify. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, with Spotify and Pandora or any of those streamers, even though you have commercials, and Sirius doesn't, it's worth it because it's basically free unless you're paying for the paid one. So, but he died. So, a lot of people are mourning him. Like I said, I didn't really know his stuff that much. The other one was the second one was Sally Kellerman. So she played Hot Lips Houlihan on MASH, but not the TV show.
Right.
The movie.
The movie.
She was in some other stuff as well, though, right?
Yeah, she was actually like kind of a genre all around. She was in an episode of Twilight Zone. She was in an episode of Star Trek, or maybe a few episodes. She was in a few movies. Brewster McCloud, I never saw that. She was in TV shows up until like 2010. She was in. Do you guys remember that show Dream On HBO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one was Dream On?
That was the one with the schlubby looking guy who had a lot of sex. It's basically since we couldn't have porn back then, you would put HBO on if your parents had HBO, and you can watch Dream On, and you can have your time.
See, for me, I remember her in Back to School. That was the big role I remember her from.
Yeah, I never saw that, so I figured you guys may have seen that, and that might be something you remember her from. So,
yeah, she was the love interest in Back to School, and even then, she was an older woman in that movie. She wasn't, she wasn't 20 something or anything.
Yeah, no, she was. Was she a professor? I think she was a Dr. Diane something. Okay.
She played a professor. It's a good movie, though. I mean, it's a good, fun time movie.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard it's good. It's just one of those ones I've never gotten around to. What shocked me was because, they're all showing, and this sounds like a typical chauvinist thing to say. And obviously no one's shocked by that coming from my mouth. But she was so gorgeous when she was younger. Like when I pulled up pictures of her, I was like, wow. It's just, a lot of the, especially celebrities, it seems when they get older, they seem to turn towards that plastic surgery, and it doesn't always look or work out the best. I'll tell you an example of a woman who is in probably her 70s at this point. I don't know what surgeries she's had, if any, but she looks pretty good for someone in her 70s. Susan Sarandon. I don't know what you guys' opinion on her is, but she, I know we've got off topic and it's totally a male-oriented podcast at this point.
No, it's more of a mic-oriented podcast.
Shut up.
You guys, Susan Sarandon's still hot? Like hot?
No. For a woman in her 70s. If you had to bang a woman in her 70s, who's a woman in her 70s that you would bang more than Susan Sarandon?
Who were they just? Hold on. They just had this one on there. But definitely not Susan Sarandon. Like, get out of here. Oh, here we go. Let me see. Let me make sure she's of the proper age. Because we were just talking about it. I'm thinking like maybe Morgan Fairchild.
From what movie was that? She was in shit. She played that spy. Pee-wee's Big. Was she in Pee-wee's Big Adventure? I know who you're talking about, but I don't know if she was in that film too. I think she played Dottie in the movie version of Pee-wee's Big Adventure inside the film.
Morgan Fairchild, she's 72. Yeah, Google her and see her versus Susan Sarandon and tell me which one today you'd rather try. Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh. All right, let me see. Morgan Fairchild. I see Morgan Fairchild. Susan Sarandon. Let's see. I listen. I would still go Sarandon, man.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here.
I'm just saying, that's me, man. I could have a personal preference.
Yes.
Yeah, you could be wrong still, though, too.
I could. Susan Sarandon 75 and Morgan Fairchild 72. Susan Sarandon 75. Shit. Like, I see her in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I mean, yeah, it's been almost 50 years, so it makes sense. But wow. All right, and the other death just happened. The amazing Jonathan. So I remember seeing this guy. I never saw any of his specials, never saw him live, never saw any of his comedy, but he was always that guy that come on. He seemed like he was really intense and he would do that magic comedy. And apparently he was really well liked by his peers from the articles I was reading. Do you guys remember this guy? I think he always wore like a headband and did that magic comedy.
I do remember him. Because there was a time when I was just real big. I tried to see every comedy special that came out. But I do remember him. And, at one point, I kind of realized I was just being stupid, but I was like a comedy purist. Like I was like, these fucking prop comics and these magician, Carrot Top, this guy, Jeff, the guy with the puppets, Jeff Dunham. I was like, get the fuck out of here. I was like, you guys aren't Pryor. You guys aren't, Lenny Bruce. You guys are George Carlin. I was like, fuck these guys. But I grew up a little bit more. I'm like, you know what? If it makes people laugh, if you're an entertainer, I kind of flipped on that. But for a while, but apparently he was actually liked a lot by the comedy community. So yeah, I didn't know of him, but when I found out about him, I just pretty much bunched him in with the other prop comics, which for a while I just had a hatred for because I'm just like, fuck out of here with your go do a magic show, like get out of here. But apparently he was liked. I never seen any of his specials or anything. So
Jeremy was shaking his head the entire time. He never heard of him. That surprises me. I thought this would be Jeremy's thing, No, regarding magic comics, I've gotten into a few recently in the past few years, and I gotta say, I think they're pretty good. You guys would probably like them. Have you heard of Michael Carbonaro? He does the Carbonaro effect on True TV or whatnot.
What's his name? Is
Michael Carbonaro?
And does he have his own you said True TV?
Yeah, the Carbonaro effect.
Let me see if I can see this guy.
He's really good. He does a really good live show. We've seen him live 2 or 3 times, and the tricks he does on the Carbonaro effect are really amazing. And he's kind of family friendly. He does some stuff that's very vaguely risque, but barely anything. He's pretty good. And the other one that I would recommend that I've actually want to go see, and Heather doesn't want to. He was in Key West a few years ago, I think right before the pandemic, and I wanted to go see him. Justin Willman, he does Magic for Humans on Netflix. Have you guys seen or heard of him?
That's the one. That's the guy I was talking about. Because he also is the host of Cupcake Wars. That's how I know that guy. And He used to do the Cupcake Wars thing. And they always, kind of try to choose a comedian thing. And then I see he has this whole other show. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm also a magician and kind of like a comedy guy. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So Yeah, I know him first for him doing Cupcake Wars on Food Network. And then I'm like, oh, I'm also a magician. I'm also this. I mean, good to be diverse, I guess. But I'd go see one of his shows because it seemed like the stick he was doing on Cupcake, it was real hacky shit. And then I'm like, they usually get a comedian because it's easier to have a comedian as TV host. But then on his other show, the one he was doing, it seemed pretty good. So I'd check him out if he was around.
Yeah. Check out Magic for Humans on Netflix. Just give it an episode or two. It's real fast.
No, I have.
It's fun.
I have.
Okay.
I haven't seen them all, but I've seen a few. Yeah. So that's what I was saying on that Magic for Humans. It seemed like he was more natural. This is kind of really what he wanted to do. Like Cupcake Wars. It's Cupcake Wars, Baking Impossible, Sugar Rush, all those kind of Food Network shows. And, the jokes are pretty, I guess what would you say, bakery centric, can Texas make sure you don't fluff up it's that kind of shit. It's like, okay, what, but
all right, let's, you guys have anything else before we go to Chad moment of the week? You guys have anything else we need to cover this week?
What else was on the list? Let's see.
I deleted everything else. We got medical marijuana, which is kind of a bigger topic, so we probably need to save that for like a B block or something like that. I don't know. There's a reason it's on there. I'll tease it like that. Body hair I have on there because I wanted to we can touch briefly on this. I don't think this will be a long conversation. So body hair, and I mean specifically on women. So there is an OnlyFans page. This girl on Instagram that apparently I follow, she created an OnlyFans. Say, hey, follow me on OnlyFans, blah, blah, blah. So I did. And like one of the clips she has, she's got, I hate it. She's got like a little faint little mustache. And so I just wanted to touch and see what you guys thought about that. Like, I'm not going to tell someone how to live their life. It's not attractive to me. And so that was really a big turnoff when I saw that. And so it's just annoying. But I just wanted to see what you guys thought about it. Listen, people are going to live their lives. I know some girls don't shave their pits. I was raised during the generation where that was kind of the norm. So I kind of need to see that. If a bunch of hair underneath that, I don't even like having hair under my armpit, but it feels like it's necessary at this point.
Necessary for what?
Dude, have you ever shaved your armpit?
I have.
Okay, when you shave your armpit, it feels so fucking weird. And so that's what women are feeling all the time. But like, I can't deal with that feeling. I need to have the hair there to have like the gliding. It doesn't get stuck. It doesn't stick, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Got to make sure I put the, because I tend to get razor bumps because I, of course, hair on the face. Yeah, to me, I guess, it's all personal preference. I'm kind of old school with it, but I also kind of understand like, hey, we're living in a looser time. People should be able to do what they want. And I'm also, as I get older and with the advent of the internet and social media and all that, you find out there is a kink for literally everything. So there's definitely guys out there that like body hair, want body hair, think it's sexy, would love to rub their fingers through it. So I'm just of the opinion now, to each their own, let it out. I'm sure, and the weirder the better, because then you can monetize it. So, good for her. But yeah, I'm kind of old school with it. I've kind of gone away from, you got to shave all or be completely bare, particularly, in the private regions and stuff. That's also a debate that's gone back and forth. But yeah, I mean, if a chick has a mustache, it's kind of like, hey, do you, but it's not my thing. And then the underarm hair, it's usually, I don't know, man. You know what? I will say this. If it was just stubbly or just a little bit, I don't think it'd bother me much. My wife, great. What's the rule? Don't get fired, don't get divorced. But anyway, she does the normal woman thing, shaves legs, shaves underarms. I wouldn't mind if she just decided to keep it stubbly. But, there are some women out there with just a lot of underarm hair. And yeah, it does give you like, whoa, it does, give you that pause. But to each their own now. So,
Jeremy, is Christine going to feel called out by any of this? Or
not that I know of, no.
You just been sitting there so not in.
She probably won't hear it either, so it really doesn't matter.
Oh, that's wonderful. We still need to do the wives show. We don't need to include Vinny. I mean, we can, but he doesn't. Who? He doesn't seem to. Yeah, he doesn't seem to join us. He came back gung ho a few weeks ago, like, yeah, I'm back. They're like, God, dusted like Thanos fucking snapped his fingers or something. Oh, speaking of Thanos, that's funny. The picture of Thanos with human skin.
Oh,
That's fucking Vinny, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Jeremy, you got any opinion on the body hair?
Not really.
All right. Well, let's see. Like I said, it could go long or not. So, Saint, tell us a little bit about your Chad moment, and Jeremy, if you have one. I probably have a few, but nothing too crazy. Go ahead. I don't know what I usually have one or two.
A few. That's awesome.
Larry David over here. Maybe. Real quick story. I mean, it's not a real Chad moment, but we got this pressure washer on sale. I think may have been Home Depot or somewhere else, but I know we definitely got it on sale. Normally goes for about $289, maybe $290, and we got it on sale for like $215 or something. So get it. Shipping date supposed to get here. Shipping date passes over 10 days. Call, say, hey, what happens? Not here. Oh, our bad, blah, blah, blah. Should be there in a few days. Wait a few days. Doesn't show up. Hey, hello. This is our thing. We're waiting for it. I remember, and the worst part is when you feel like you're getting a runaround, like you go on hold. Let me transfer you to this person or that person. It's like, fuck. Trying to remember, because this was a few months back before. Anyway, long story short, I know we waited for a while. And then one time I called and I'm like, look, you said this was going to be here. I'm telling you. And then, I hate the thing where they try to make it seem like, well, are you sure it didn't show up? It's like, it's a fucking pressure wash. What the fuck you mean? Am I sure if it showed up or not? Long story short, it got to about a month. So it was a month after it's supposed to get here. And, finally calling. The person says, so sorry, our bad. I'm just going to send you another one. The other one must have got lost in the mail. Our fault. 2 days later, pressure wash shows up. Cool. Pissed off. Whatever. Build it. 2 days later, another pressure washer shows up on our doorstep, little banged up. So we figured this must have been the original one that nobody could find. So kept it here. And well, your fault. And that pressure washer is now in possession of a lovely man from Ecuador. And I hope he finds good use for it. So it's come up.
Yeah, Saint made a few bucks off Home Depot or wherever's mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Jeremy, any Chad moments for you?
No, I'm staying out of trouble right now.
Staying out of trouble. Let's see what I had. So my beautiful Dell monitor that was $600 that I bought last year from Home Depot. I
bought a computer monitor from Home Depot.
I apologize. Office Depot. I apologize. My mistake.
I was gonna say, what?
Yeah, sorry. As soon as I said it and you started reacting, I knew what I did wrong.
That might have been the first, like, you sure? A guy standing out of Home Depot sold me a monitor. Like, ooh,
he was a guy in the parking lot. He was in the back of the van.
It fell off the back of a truck. No. So I bought it, it's been great. It's the one I'm looking at right now. And I have a screensaver on this Mac Mini. And so when I'm not using it, it just goes and does its screensaver thing, whatever it does. I noticed a little bit of like almost burn-in on the monitor. And I know it was words. It was like a definition or something, whatever fucking screensaver the Mac had. And so I contact Dell. I'm like, hey, there's some kind of burn-in, and it wasn't that big of a deal, but it's been less than a year. So they said, oh yeah, we'll send you another one, no problem. So apparently, I think it just arrived while we were recording the podcast, but it's going to be a refurb model. But the one here, my monitor that I was looking at before, the burn-in's like gone. It's disappeared, but it was there for like a week. But no, I'm gonna have to send one of them back. I just don't know which one to send back.
So you gotta send one back. Is that
I just don't know which one too. I think I have to send this one back and keep the refurb. I don't know.
You should have haggled more and be like, no, motherfuckers, you're gonna send me a new one, and I'm not sending shit back. I'm just gonna throw this one in the dumpster. You got that?
But he's paying for shipping.
Yeah,
I'm not paying for shipping. Fuck that. But so
no.
Yeah, no, that's not really a Chad thing. Like I said, they took care of me. And let's give props to another company that took care of me. We have the Chameleon here at the house. It needs a humidifier, just on low. But the humidifier is running most of the day. And so it fucking tanks out after a little bit. We've had a brand called Coup Spider, which is a weird name, but whatever. I think it's from a different country. We've had it for less than a year. Last April, I got it after the other one shit the bed. And so I just happened to Google because I was just going to buy another one. And I was looking at the best one and I found it and it was like $60-$70. I'm like, whatever. But then I just happened to go look at the other one's website and they said, hey, yeah, this company offers like a 1-year warranty. And so I emailed these are totally fucking random email addresses. One of them was like a Gmail address. The other one was like, it wasn't like a website, you know what I mean? And so I emailed them like, hey guys, I heard you offer like a 1-year warranty on your humidifiers. And they said, oh yeah, just send us your Amazon order number. Sent it to them. They're like, okay, yeah, just send us your shipping address. It got here like the next day. So that's Coup Spider. I'm going to give them props for, good customer service. Now their products might not be the best, but their customer service is pretty good. It was almost a year later and they sent me another one. Chick-fil-A, we had a shitty experience today, but that got taken care of. I feel like, I'm not chatted up because I'm not having to deal with it.
There's no way that they didn't handle whatever the problem was.
They handled it.
It just doesn't happen that way.
Have you guys ever had an experience when you went to Chick-fil-A, bought some of the nuggets or any other the chicken product, and you bit into it and it was like red inside?
No.
Yeah, it's happened to Sophie twice. Once at the Gardens Mall, they immediately gave her like another 4-pack of nuggets. And then today, when we go every other day when I drive her to school, we go to Chick-fil-A for breakfast. We get the chicken minis. I noticed because I eat, have a larger mouth. I don't need to bite it. I just pop it in there, the fucking chicken mini. And so I noticed it was like a little almost either tough or chewy or difficult, but I didn't think anything of it. And I wasn't going to spit it out to look at it. There were, it was a 4-pack. So whatever, I dealt with it. Sophie, takes her bite, she dips into the ranch, and she noticed that when she bit into it, just like at the Gardens Mall, there was a little bit of red inside of it. And so she didn't eat any of the nuggets.
Red or pink?
She said red. I didn't see it because by the time she told me that what had happened to her, the ranch that she did not use for the nuggets had spilled all over the nuggets. So I actually told her to wipe it off, but she was we were late, almost late for school. So we weren't concerned about that as much. But it was weird. You know what I mean? So I took it right back to Chick-fil-A. They gave me 2 cards for, free entrees or whatever. But so they took care of it, but it's so weird to me. I guess they, it says on their thing, they make the boneless chicken. They make it fresh. They bread it. That's shocking to me because I figure they probably get the chicken nuggets in a bag. I don't know. I've never worked there. But yeah, I just didn't know if you guys had that experience at Chick-fil-A. They, like Jeremy said, they are pretty much always going to take care of you because that's kind of their thing.
I had to wait 30 seconds at the drive-through window last week, and they gave me a free card for a free sandwich because I had to wait 30 seconds. I'm like, man, I'd still be waiting to pay at McDonald's. This is some service right here. All right.
That's crazy.
I am curious what the kitchen of a Chick-fil-A looks like, though, because to push the customers through as fast as they do, that kitchen must, it's either a madhouse or the picture of efficiency. I'm not sure which. Maybe both.
I think it's probably the latter because, when you go inside, you don't hear a lot of insanity going on. You know what I mean? It all seems pretty organized. Everyone seems to be pretty damn friendly. That's their brand. So, I feel like they just train them well and they have a good operation that's well oiled.
Right. I think it's more, their brand. They have less hours than, say McDonald's and all that stuff. A more limited menu, so it's easier to just focus on certain things. And, being closed on Sunday because you guys are homophobic, whatever, probably gives them an extra day to catch up on all that shit. So wasn't gonna get out of this conversation without dropping that shit. So
that anti-gay chicken sure is good though.
Ain't it? The worst. It's like, fuck. It's like morals or delicious chicken. Morals, delicious chicken. Yeah, I guess I'll just shit on them as much as I can on the podcast and keep eating delicious chicken.
I did stop eating for a while there, when everything came out a few years ago, but I'm sorry, I had to stop. Then when Sophie started liking it, she didn't like it for a while, which shocked me because she likes chicken nuggets and all that kind of stuff. And when she started liking it, it was mainly when I started getting her into the chicken minis. Shit, we go there. Fuck, she's a signature member. I'm a signature member. We're all on the fucking app. We're all signature members.
I would like to point out to the Kathy family that the opinions of Sainte are not those of mine. I love your product. Please don't ban me from your restaurant.
Your products are good. Just your opinions and your values are shit. But I'll give you that. But no, we go there because out of all the fast food places that have salads, theirs are typically the best because the chicken tastes the best and their lettuce is actually pretty. You can't get a salad at fucking McDonald's or whatever, but you can get it at Chick-fil-A, which my wife often does, and she loves their dressing too. And she goes, my wife has a gay sister, and she's like, yeah, but man, And her case, it was funny. One time we went there and like her sister was like, oh, let's get something to eat. She was picking me up from the airport, just me and her. She's like, let's go to Chick-fil-A. And she goes, I know I'm not supposed to like it, but I do. I'm like, yeah, I know. I swear to God, true story. Swear to God.
Listen, I mean, I get it. And, it's awesome to take a stand for what you believe in, but I mean, shit, it's just too good. It really is just one person going to make that big difference. No, so go eat the fucking chicken.
Listen to you.
Go ahead and boycott Hobby Lobby.
Actually, we have. I have boycott because my wife used to get crafts from there, but when we found out that shit, I was like, yeah, fuck it. But the real reason is it's not that great anyway. So it's like, yeah, it's funny. You can have a moral stance when you're like, yeah, fuck you anyway. It's like it wasn't that great. Hobby Lobby, you can find discounts at better places. It was just more convenient or quote unquote convenient there. So yeah, fuck Hobby Lobby. Never stepping in that place again.
All right.
Let's wrap up the show for the week. You can.
Actually, I just want to say I'm gonna try. I don't know if I should take video, but I'm gonna try to give like a detailed account on my trip to Disney Hollywood Studios. Gonna go on the Rise of Resistance Star Wars ride and try to. We're going both days. We were gonna do Hollywood Studios and then the Magic Kingdom, but then my kids are a little more grown, so they kind of just want to do all the rides. So yeah, we're just going to do Hollywood Studios and take our time instead of trying to rush everything in one day. We'll try to do everything in 2 days. So I'll give a detailed.
When are you going?
We're leaving Sunday, but we're going Monday and Tuesday, which I guess this weekend, fucking Disney, this weekend, they're doing the 5K Princess Run, whatever that is. That's going on this weekend.
Running weekend? Yeah, they're busy as hell then.
Right. And so, but we're going Monday.
Videos should have told you that.
No, that's how I found out. I had no idea. And then I looked, it said it on the YouTube video and I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked and yes, the YouTube video was correct. But then also, so they got that going on, that ends Sunday. Right. And then we figured, hey, if we go Monday and Tuesday, it's right before spring break. Our kids are still doing virtual till next year. Hey, maybe we'll catch it good. So Monday looks like this is going to turn into me recapping my Disney booking, but Monday looks like it's going to be okay. But then Tuesday, March 1st is the grand opening of their fucking Galactic Star Cruiser, the fucking hotel that's Star Wars, that's all immersive 2-day shit. So it's going to be packed with Star Wars and media shit. So now our plan is we're going to try to do everything Star Wars on that Monday and stay the fuck away from Star-Lord's Land on the Tuesday, because that's probably just going to be a packed shit show.
If I'm paying like $7,000 for my family for a weekend, we're not leaving the fucking hotel. We're spending the entire time in that immersive experience.
Well, here's the thing. So the immersive experience and they include like free parking. You basically get everything that you don't normally get when you buy just a Disney pass, but you're banned. And yeah, you get to stay in there and they got like interactive shit. They got, on your phone, they make up quests, all kinds of shit. But if for a few hours, if you want to go back into the regular Star Wars part, you get to cut the line in everything. Oh, nice. at least one. I think it's only once, but one time you can cut any line at any time if you are staying over there. So
for each
they let
attraction?
You say what?
For each attraction, or just you gotta pick one?
For each, I think for 2 or 3 attractions. I was looking at some of the details, but they're saying that you can leave there for a few hours if you want to go back to the regular Star Wars part of Hollywood Studios. But the benefit is you get to cut the line automatically without paying any. I mean, you already paid $7,000, so you can go and you can cut the line with no reservation.
Well, yeah, I mean that makes sense, because otherwise you want to stand in a line for 2 hours to get on the ride when you're paying that much to do
the hotel shit. So, I mean, it's kind of a long story. Well, when we first booked it, because I was like, of course I want to go where Star Wars Toy Story and all that shit is. Everything was booked up, including the hotel we tried to stay at. So we were staying at some B resort that's on Disney property, but it's like way the fuck out there. And I was like, fuck. But then, good old wife, she just kept at it, checked every day. So now we actually are staying at a resort, an official Disney resort that's close by. And they have that build your lightsaber thing where, you can custom make your own lightsaber. That was all booked out. She kept looking. Yesterday, a slot opened up and she was in there. And then like some of the dinner options that I've seen on the videos for dessert, they were all booked, and I just kept looking too, and I got one this morning, and I booked it. So I guess moral of the story is don't give up when you first book, because at first it's like, yeah, everything's booked, blah, blah, blah. It's like, shit. But so, yeah, I will become an official Jedi by the time you see me. I'll let you know how the training goes. Should be intense.
Yeah, do the next podcast in the robe.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Fuck. Shit.
I feel like the real moral of the story is plan ahead.
Oh, damn.
Thanks, asshole. But,
see, you see how easy it is to go there? I mean, see how easy it is to hate him?
Yeah, this was just a spur of the moment. We booked it, I think 10, 12, because they gave that Florida residence. If you're a Florida resident, they cut the price almost in half. And it's like, when else, I work in Alaska on a boat. So when else am I gonna have time? And it's cool. It should be only 70 degrees. I don't want to go when it's fucking 90 out, walking around with the kids and stuff. So
I'm just fucking with you. Have fun. If you shoot any videos and narrate them, or if you want to put a little clip together, we can air it here. You can share your screen and you can, hey motherfuckers, I'm on the Star Cruiser or whatever the fuck you're gonna do. I don't know. I haven't been to the Star Wars land at all.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do in line at Disney. Bust out the camera. Hey motherfuckers, here I am in motherfucking Star Wars land. Woo, motherfucker.
With his mouse ears on.
Yeah, all right.
Well, if you got the purple lightsaber, you just like Samuel L. Jackson. Dropping a bunch of motherfuckers. He's gonna get the purple one.
I'm gonna get purple, right? I mean, green, blue. I want red, but I don't think they let you. You can buy a kyber crystal, of course, Disney. You can buy a separate kyber crystal to replace, so it'll change the color. So you can buy a red one, but I think the only ones you can get included is blue, green, and purple. No yellow, which I think is kind of weird after the whole Rey thing. So, but yeah, 200 and something each. Fuck, but.
Yeah, we were gonna do that with Sophie right before the pandemic. We literally were gonna take her to Disney. We had the appointment booked to build her lightsaber, and then the pandemic hit and they shut everything down. So It was what it was. All right. So follow us on social media at The Usual Saints, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go to the website, theusualsaints.com. That's where you can find wherever it is, but we're on Apple Podcasts, everywhere like that. Leave us a 5-star rating and review, and we'll read it on the show. Nah, man, I keep telling these motherfuckers at Trivia at Kilted Mermaid on Thursdays, I'm like, y'all can just leave a review. People at work, like when they listen. I know, that's what I said. I said I left the 5-star thing the other day. I didn't leave a review. I just left the 5-star just to really increase our rating. The people at work today went, because there's a lot of new people. I offhandedly mentioned I have a podcast, but I did not. I don't want to tell them what it is because I'm like,
you'll get to talk to HR this week. That's awesome.
No, I'm just like, I'm not telling you what it is because I don't want the clients and anyone else to find out about it because I'm very vulgar and myself and everything on the podcast.
Told your coworkers this?
Yeah, well, offhandedly, and so they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna find it." I'm like, "Good luck." If you find it, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and they laughed about that. All right. So let's see. For Jeremy and Sainte, I'm Mike D. Thanks for listening to The Usual Saints.
Peace.